In Nico we trust. Yes, indeed we do. I'm riding with him. I've made this video twice now, and each time I do, I feel like I need to start over because my feelings have changed. That's how quick it happens, you know? And I think ultimately the only place I can land as a Mavs fan, as a Luka card collector, is that I gotta trust in Nico. I mean, every move that he's made thus far has worked out. We got to the finals last year, and why stop trusting him now? Because he traded Luka, he traded the untradeable. I mean, he has a chance to go down as the greatest general manager in all of NBA history if this works out. Why stop trusting him now? You know how many people would be able to pull this trigger? Not many. I love Luka for everything that he is. Brilliant, exciting, made our team great. Seemed like he gave his all when he was on the court. Would absolutely walk teams down in the playoffs. I'll never forget 2022 Suns Game 7. I'll never forget his rookie year, emerging. Mavs fans wondering, what do we have here? What is this? And then realizing he was probably the top player in the NBA, or at least the top player under 22. It's arguable where he sits on that list now. You know, apologies to SGA and maybe Anthony Edwards. Of course, a totally different type of player in Jokic, but he's the one who's won the last couple MVPs. So clearly there are better players in the league than Luka, but not many. And to trade a 25-year-old who, by all accounts, was happy where he was happy with his coach, was happy with his city, and on the verge of signing a Supermax extension, to trade him speaks to A, the size of the cojones on Nico Harrison, and B, what was Luka doing behind the scenes? Because look at the players who did not work out. Kristaps being the main one. Did he chase Kristaps out of town? Did he chase Carlisle out of town? At some point, you got to start asking what the common denominator is, and I trust in Nico that he's found that, and it's Luka. For everything that Luka is, here's what he isn't. He isn't someone who's got the type of body who's going to play until he's well into his 40s like LeBron. Whether LeBron has help or not, Luka has not shown that type of dedication. He's hinted that he is eagerly awaiting retirement, kind of like Jokic, you know, that European attitude that there's so much more to life than this, and, you know, I'm looking forward to living that. Is it right? I don't know. It's not right if you're getting paid, you know, $500,000. It's not right if a city has hung their entire hopes and sports dreams on you. You know who I feel the worst for today? Are the 10 and 12 and 13-year-old kids who got a new Luka jersey for Christmas or a new pair of Luka shoes, right? And wake up and their mom or dad has to tell them. I mean, some of these kids have never even experienced, you know, a loss in their life. Maybe, you know, somebody in their family has passed, or a dog or a cat or a pet, you know, but this is a big loss for young kids who loved watching Luka and loved going to American Airlines and seeing him play and the excitement. and knowing that he's gone from their team, from their city. It's a big deal. But the word that I'm hearing, what I'm hearing here in Dallas is they ask Luka, after his knee injury over the summer, hey, rehab it, come back, lose some pounds, be in shape. And then by Christmas, he had re-aggravated a calf injury that he basically played through last year and got them all the way to the finals. He does not work with the Mavericks training staff. He has his own training staff. Some might say, well, fire the Mavericks training staff. Fire Casey Smith. Bring on Luka's team if that's what it takes to keep him. But at some point, you just can't keep giving in to a player who won't help himself. And it feels weird to say that about a guy who's such a killer on the court. But he's only going to get older. He's only going to get more expensive. And if he doesn't turn things around, he's only going to be more injury prone. And if you truly believe that defense wins championships, then he's a liability. So in Nico, we trust. It hurts to see such an exciting player leave. But I think until we see this play out and until we see if the Mavericks make more moves, I'm one of the few Mavs fans who's going to ride with Nico on this. And trust me, like I said, I had to make this video a couple times before I landed here. I was in utter shock last night. And I'm still shocked. But I'm ready to go. I'm ready to see what happens. I've never liked Anthony Davis. I hate that he comes with such a fragile frame, but he's huge. He's a two-way player. He's 32 years old. But Nico loves him. They go back to the days when AD signed with Nike. A lot of people say, well, why didn't we make Luka available to the league? Why did we only get one draft pick back? Why not create a bidding war? And I was there too this morning. My first video I made was a lot about that very point. But then I watched the press conference that Jason Kidd and Nico Harrison did, and one of the things that Nico said was he didn't want this to be a public smear campaign. He did not want Mavericks fans to have to endure a public bidding war for Luka, to see, right, to watch, let's just say a fish, because I don't want to jinx anybody's dogs or cats here. So let's just say a fish. It's one thing to watch a fish, get sick and turn sideways and start floating up to the top of the tank and then swim down to the bottom. And know that fish is agonizing. That fish being the Mavericks fan base. And it's another thing to wake up one day and see the fish floating at the top, right? He was good last night. He's at the top of the tank this morning. There's going to be some pain, right? There's going to be some sorrow, but it's over and it's done with, and you move on. And you didn't have to spend days or weeks feeling sorry for the fish, hoping that things turned around for the fish. All right, can you imagine the Mavericks making it public that they want to move Luka, and the Mavs fans clinging to hope that he changed his mind? It's a clean cut, and it's a big cut. But I think getting back Max Christie, he's a defensive guy. He's a young defensive front court player, back court player that is going to help when it comes to locking down scorers on the other teams in the playoffs. And if you know that last year was maybe the best that you could do with this team, and it was good enough to get to the finals where Boston just walked you, then why stick around trying to add little pieces of defense to a team that is glaringly defensively inadequate? I mean, Gafford helps, Lively helps, Najee Marshall helps, but the culture in Dallas had to be rotten. It just had to be. That's the only way this happens. And either Luka wakes up, because he's never been treated this way. He's never had some team turn their back on him like this. Some general manager turn his back on him like this. He's never been this disrespected. And either he wakes up and spends the rest of his career making Nico Harrison miserable and haunting him, or he finds a reason to feel like he's been disparaged and he goes out to LA and he puts on some shows but doesn't rededicate himself ultimately to the level it takes to win a championship, to be a top 2 or 3 player in the NBA, to grind through an 82-game season, and then beyond, in the playoffs. A lot of people look at LeBron and how he's able to do it for so long and still dominate. Maybe he's got a special training staff out there in LA. Maybe they'll hook him up with the LeBron regiment, if you know what I'm talking about. Maybe we'll see Luka next year and he'll just be ripped. But for now, I trust Nico. And if he's punting Luka Magic, then I guess I got to punt him too. And speaking of that, how does it affect the card market? Well, before I get to what I have left, let's look at some things I've already moved. Because I've had some humongous Lukas. No NTs or flawless RPAs, but some big time Lukas that I've already moved. Start with the first big Luka I moved, the Prism Mojo Auto out of 9.510 BGS. Recently moved this Hoops Artist Proof out of 25 PSA 10. In that same deal, I moved this first off the line Immaculate RPA out of 24. Loved that card. Somebody's enjoying that right now. Traded this for my Moss Flair Rose Zero Legacy rookie. Recently, last Dallas card show, it being the playoff ticket Contenders to 65 rookie auto. Traded this. This is a big one. The Tiger Stripe, the Tattoo Match out of Prism Choice rookie. And then the two big ones, I moved this Cracked Ice Contenders out of 25, 9.510. And the one-time color match, that's another thing. Luka's a yellow now. He's no longer a blue. Does that affect his color match cards? We'll see. But the Blue Ice was one I was thrilled to get. Got a good price when I moved it. Probably would get more today, but I never in a million years would have dreamed that this day would come. I could see Luka being frustrated and requesting a trade, wanting to get out of Dallas, but we made the finals last year. I thought that bought us another contract with him. I really did. And it may have. But it may have been one that just kept us, in the playoffs for another 7-8 years, but never getting over the hump. Always dealing with Luka injuries from year to year. Always dealing with the Luka complaining. Always dealing with the sourness that seems to follow this guy. I mean, is he a rotten apple? Does he spoil the bunch? Making the finals is great, but they didn't win it. So I'm left with 10 or so cards here. Probably going to keep one, maybe two, probably one. And I'm going to punt the rest. And I think the sooner the better, because while I do think that moving to LA increases Luka's floor, because he's in a big market, because he's a Laker, I do think that there's a certain amount of hype right now that you can capitalize on. And that's probably what I'll do. Not sure how I'm going to sell these yet or move them. Don't know that I necessarily want to wait for the next Dallas show in March. But I'll tell you what, I moved a lot of Bobbies. Bobby Witt Jr. still have a good amount. Just sold a gold field level select Mahomes rookie. Moved a lot of my Mahomes stuff. My collection is definitely turning over. It's definitely morphing into an entirely new creature. It's definitely not static. And it's been fun to make those moves. And ultimately, this just means there are more moves to make. And if you're a true card collector who loves this hobby and loves the cards, then a situation like this can be interesting. It can be fun. It can be enjoyable to walk through this whole process of moving and acquiring new cards and just seeing how all this plays out. So you saw the cards I already moved. Let's look at a couple that I still have that will be on their way out as well. A couple small ones, conference finals out of 65. Oh, the green color match. This might be one I keep. It's cheap, but I love the Mavericks green. Green on green. And the Monopoly Black Money. This card is probably one that should be graded, but I probably won't hang around that long. It'll probably be out the door soon too. Oh man, I love this card. The Courtside Select Silver 10, low pop, beautiful card. I'm gonna punt it. Another beautiful classic Donruss Optic Hollow. Just a clean card. Punting. Checkerboard. I remember making a trade for this. And it's, I think, a pop 5. But not one that's worth keeping. Nico would punt this. I'm punting it. And that goes for this white sparkle as well. SGC 9, there are no 9.5s, there are no PSA 10s. That's why I haven't crossed this over, if you're wondering. But if you want to try, if you want to give it a shot, hit me up. It's a beautiful card. It's a white sparkle, and when I take it out of this, I mean, look at that thing. It is gorgeous. The white sparkles, man, they really do shine. Punting. First of the colors, here we go. Mosaic, PSA 10, rookie, blue, punt. The gorgeous fast break blue. PSA 10, probably a 10K card now, I would assume. It's going. The Contenders Optic Auto Blue out of 99. Rookie Auto. This one looks like a real Luka signature. It does not look like the Lulu that his mom is rumored to have signed. Gonna move that as well. And now I'm down to the two that I might keep one of these. Not sure which. This has always been my favorite auto of his that I've ever owned. The Optic rated rookie blue out of 49. Gem mint plus. 10 on edges, 9.5 everywhere else. 10 on the auto. Color match. Awesome picture of Luka. This card is just so nice. I love this card. I just might keep it. But if I keep it, that means I'm moving this one. If I move it, then I'll probably keep this one. Which one would you guys keep out of these two? Which one? The classic Prism Blue. Once a 30K card. This and a Min Gem, I think, would probably be 13K at this point. Early returns on his market are about 30 to 40% jump. His Silver Prism was doing about 12 to 13 since Christmas, since he got hurt. Checked Card Ladder this morning, and there were several 4 or 5 sales at around 18. So that's about a 35% jump. If you apply that across the board, this is probably, like I said, anywhere from 12 to 14K. Imagine what I could do with that money in this market. The last point I'll make, let me remind you that I'm believing and I'm trusting. But the silver lining, if there is one in this thing, is that this card takes a monumental leap forward, doesn't it? If you think about it, Dirk was everything that Luka is not. Yes, he's European. Yes, he's white. And yes, he's an all-time great. Luka came into the league scorching hot. Dirk didn't. Luka complains every time he gets fouled and there's not a call. Dirk didn't. Luka comes into camp questionable, let's put it that way. Dirk was renowned for his work ethic. And although Luka did not request this trade, he is no longer a Maverick. Dirk played 21 seasons in Dallas. His records will remain. Luka will not break them. But more importantly, his lone title, which is represented in this card, and the flawless championship tag, the first Dirk championship tag, is a card that will continue to be probably my favorite card in my collection. And it just got a bump because even if we won the championship this year, it would not mean nearly as much as it would mean if Luka brought it to us. And that's a big complaint that people are saying. So what if we win? We won't win with our boy. With all that being said, this is where I'm landing. I think I might be the only person in town that's landing here, but he's proven to be an excellent general manager thus far. Why wouldn't he continue to be? Curious for your thoughts and comments. Well, until the next time, we'll see how this one plays out. I'll keep you posted on the moves that I make. But until then, take care. See you guys.